Hey random people out there on the internet. So this is the second in a series on using routers and setting them up and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit about getting it set up and putting your bit in there and things like that. It's pretty simple stuff, but hey, never hurts to review it. So I'm going to be using my favorite palm router, the DeWalt, and basically I have three components to put together. I got the battery, I got the motor, and I got the base. This little guy here is called a collet, okay? And the collet is the place into which you will be placing a bit, all right? In this case, I'm gonna be putting a chamfer edge along the edges of these two pieces that I did in an earlier video. I'm just gonna chamfer the edges so that there's no sharpness there. You can run your hand across it and you won't feel anything. So I discussed in an earlier video about these types of bits called chamfers. They are 45 degrees and they have a bearing. Now when you're using the bit, keep in mind that one edge is sharp and it's going to turn in that direction so that it's cutting and not dragging. All right, so first thing you want to do, of course, put the old bit in the hole there. You're going to need a wrench. One thing I do like about this particular router is that you only need one wrench because there's a button here you can hold. And you want to pull it up just a little bit. You don't want to pull it up a lot, but you don't want it just dead to the bottom. All right. And I don't know why that is, but that's what I've been told, so that's what I've been doing. Like I say, you just want to pull it up just a little bit, just a smidge. And then righty-tighty. While you're holding that button, it'll lock the collet down so that you can tighten it up. You don't need to fist tight it. You need it fairly snug, but you don't want to get it over tight and you'll probably end up breaking your bit. Now, for this particular router, you'll see the bottom has a little bit bigger here. That's to match your flat spot here. So when you slide it down like this, it matches these grooves down the side. And then, there you go. Now, where I got our bit protruding, the next thing we want to figure out is just how much of a chamfer we want to put on there. In this case, I want to chamfer pretty much all of it. So I'm going to move it up to where it doesn't have any of the shoulder visible. And it'll be about right there and lock it in. Then we can run this guy up here. That double locks it so this thing won't slide up and down. So now, when we put our battery in, we're all set. Now, when we're routing, there's two directions to go, but there's only one right direction. Okay, so we'll talk about that for a minute. And again, I get most of my information from other providers that have released content on it. When you're routing, you want to route counterclockwise when you're doing the exterior of anything. That is, you want to pass that router, counterclockwise. So it'd be going from here around like this. And the reason for that is, again, the cutting edge of that bit needs to be digging in the direction that you're pushing the router. Now it's going to be a little loud and it's going to make a hell of a mess. So either do this in a place where you don't mind the mess, or be prepared to clean it up. Also, you're going to have a speed control. Now, I got to be honest with you. I usually keep mine at the top speed. Now, when you're working with different kinds of woods, you're gonna make some changes there. The best idea is to have a piece of scrap wood that you can practice on and get the right speed. The other element is how quickly you move across that board. All right. The recommendation is at about 1 inch per second, give or take. Another thing you need to do is make sure that your board isn't going to slide around. So we're going to reach over here and grab a couple of trigger clamps, and we're going to clamp that down to our bench. Now you're going to have to clamp it out a little bit because you need to be able to pass this base past there. If you clamp it too close to the bench, you can't go down the full length of the piece. Now, that's all clamped on there. So we got our router, we got the speed set, we got the depth set. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit this edge. And again, I'm going to go counterclockwise. When I start, I'm going to have my router just a little bit off the edge, and then I'm going to bring it in and burn down that corner right there, and then start coming down the wood like this. So let's see how this works out, folks. And this is live and in color. If I make a mistake, you get to see it. Good point. Probably want to wear you some eye protection. And thank you, Lewis, for reminding me. Lewis is my cameraman today, and my favorite son. Okay, he's the only son. Anyway, here we go. And okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm going the wrong way. Why am I going the wrong way? Because that would be clockwise. And you can tell right away because that router wants to pull if you're going the wrong direction. That's called a climb cut. In some cases, you may have to do a climb cut, but typically, no, no, no. So again, live, you get to see my mistakes while I make them. All right, we got us a nice smooth chamfer going on right there, and I'm going to go all the way around this piece because this is the top piece of my project and I want it to be smooth all the way around. Always go in the right direction. Don't be me, okay? Be that other guy that knows what he's doing. All right, and here we go again. I'll talk a little bit about this here. What you see here is a little bit of burning, okay? Whenever you're doing an end grain, you need to go just a little faster because if you slow down and that bit stays in one place too long, it'll burn. And plus my bit's probably not the sharpest one. Good sharp bit is worth its weight in gold. All right, turn the piece, hang it over a little bit, get a good clamp going there. Good clamp going here. Some things to keep in mind, that particular router stops real quick. A router bit can spin 6,000, maybe 8,000 times a minute. And far too often people don't realize that they're just as dangerous as a saw if you're not careful. Notice I'm not wearing any loose clothing. I don't have gloves on. I don't want anything to snag that bit while I'm using it. Okay, this will be the last pass on this one. Beautiful. Check it out. See how that chamfered right around that edge? Because it followed the edge of the wood all the way around. It makes a nice, neat little corner. I love that when it makes it like that. And I don't know why, but I've got a real passion for doing it that way. Now, This is something I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm thinking about using the same bit and going around the insides to chamfer the insides, but I'm vacillating. I haven't decided whether I want to do that or not. It actually looks pretty good the way it is, so I don't know that I will. In any event, keep in mind that router bit is spinning very, very fast. If you get a finger on there, it's going to be hamburger in an instant. I mean, it doesn't take not a split second, and then suddenly your finger is damaged beyond all repair. And loose clothing, you know, watches, jewelry, things of that nature can contact that bit, and if it does, it'll draw your fingers or your hand into the bit. So always, always, always make sure you don't have any loose things that might catch the bit and get spun up in there. Next thing you know, well, you've injured yourself. So a reiteration, I am a hobbyist, I'm not a professional. So this is just a demonstration of how I do things. Don't take it for granted it is the way, because there are a dozen ways to make this same pattern. In my next video, we're probably going to do the same exact thing, but we're going to use the router table. So we'll have another video coming out here pretty soon that's going to show how to use that router table to make that same exact pattern on the second piece that I've got laying over there. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Let me know you're out there. Maybe a little hello. If you like what you're seeing, let me know so I can continue to provide you with some content from someone who's maybe like yourself, really just getting into this thing. Be safe out there. Thank you.